following a review of the video, etc. Can I ask who reviewed that besides the committee clerks?
You didn't. Who did review? Yeah. JP, could you clarify that as a point of interest?
My understanding it was Una Hopkins and Rick Dunn.
That's quite appropriate. That's what we usually do when there's a point of contention. So all those in favour, please say aye. Contrary? Carried. We move now to page 11 of our minutes. That's the minutes of the report, the recommendations from other committees be received. Do I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Rokawate, thank you. Seconded Councillor Hunt. All those in favour, please say aye. Contrary? Carried. Now we move to, I've got to put each motion to the vote here, that the following recommendations of the Strategy, Policy and Finance Committee meeting held on the 17th of March be adopted. I intend to put each recommendation separately. One, that we follow the exemptions-based approach to the annual plan as per legislation. B, in assessing the Council's significance and engagement policy, there are no material or significant changes to Year 2 of the current long-term plan that require consultation. C, that we will undertake engagement to inform the community of the changes to the development of this annual plan and the topics chosen to inform the community on the drivers to the annual plan 2016-17. The topics for engagement will be proposed rates increases for Year 2, 2016-17, what is being proposed around movements in the rating differentials, retaining the farming remissions at a cost of $320,000, and our capital priorities for 2017. You so move. Seconded Councillor Hunt. All those in favour, please say aye. Contrary? Do you wish to have your votes recorded? Division? All those in favour, please say aye. We're doing the first one. That's recommendation 1 that I've just read out. Yes, of the annual plan. Yep. ABC. Well, we debated that in committee. We have debated, so this is the recommendation carried over from that committee. So, yep.
There we are. Okay, I remain convinced that we are not doing the right thing by our ratepayers. And the contentious issue is the library hub and the classification of the library hub as a not significant issue. I struggle with that. The fact that in our long-term plan last year we signed off $5.4 million in that plan for the library. And we agreed with it in principle, and I agree with the concept and the rest of it. Subsequently, we were told there was an extra $3.4 million, total $8.8 million. At this point of time, yet to be confirmed, given the building industry being reasonably busy at the moment, it's a sure indication that prices will go up, tender prices will go up. But however, I would argue that given the fact that it exceeds the $3 million criteria, it is a significant change and it must be opened up to consultation. I don't really welcome the way the goalposts have been changed in this instance to allow the council, in their eyes, to make a decision to say that there are no significant issues. And consequently, because there's no significant issues, as we know, there is no consultation as we've known it in the past. As most other councils, if you look at their draft annual plan, you'll see that all of them virtually are having hearings because they have significant issues. Understand that. And I understand the concept of why we're trying to speed up the whole process. And it bugs me the fact that...
Not to speed up, really.
Well, to make it
yeah.
more efficient and... yeah, fair comment. So I cannot accept the fact that we continue to deny the fact that it is not a significant issue. If you look at page 13 of the information that was handed out to us, criteria should be considered collectively to make a determination. I could read them all out, but they've already been read out. But the more I read it, $3 million or more change to the annual plan, generate a high degree of controversy in the community, significant decision already made but with substantial variations, the more I believe that we are not doing the right thing by our ratepayers in adhering to the fact that it does not meet the criteria in the eyes of certain people. So that is the initial issue that I have. As far as the consultation process is concerned, I think this is somewhat a Clayton's consultation because there is no consultation as we knew it in the past, and I understand the rationale behind it, but nevertheless we still have no consultation, there are no hearings, and there are no individual responses. Look at every other council, they are providing individual responses to any written submissions or verbal submissions. We are not going to. We're not doing justice to not just the ratepayers but also us councillors sitting around this table to make that decision. Instead, we're going to have staff come up with a report on the various items, which will be filtered by staff, and we do not have that opportunity to sit round the table as we have done in the past and listen to people have their say and make their claims, and we in turn ask questions. That's all gone, and I just find that wrong, and I just don't really accept the process at all. And really what you're doing, you're going to perpetuate the thinking that is already out there that the council staff run this council, not us councillors.
I won't
but
accept
I'm
that
going to say it
statement.
anyway because that's what you're going to do. You're going to get people thinking, okay. Well, I'm saying, as a councillor, I don't agree with the process. So I'll leave it at that. I just think, we're not really doing justice to ratepayers. I'm uncomfortable with this process. And I think we should rethink some aspects of it, rather than go ahead and have no involvement of us councillors around the table.
Well, there's several points that you've raised there, Councillor McVicker, and it's legitimate time to raise concerns, but the decision on to proceed with the library and the children's hub has been made. This is a decision about us to take to the, it was made, the decision was made by the numbers of this council. That has been passed. So it cannot be relitigated. I think the issue that you're raising is the cost. Yeah. So that is something within the long-term plan that has been addressed. If it's within the funding envelope, it has been addressed. Therefore, it is not an exception to the long-term plan. It is within the long-term plan parameters. So we do not have to go out to consult. Now, what we are agreeing in here, that we will engage the community and they will have an opportunity to put their view back to us. We will engage with the community, that's C. But we have no need to go out to consult on what was agreed in year 1 of the long-term plan that we have already passed. So this is an attempt, really, in my view, to relitigate a resolution that has been passed by this council. We can't revisit an issue that has been passed. Am I correct there? Would you like to? It is correct. No, it's non-debatable when it's been passed. It was passed by this council.
Can I
No.
just, sorry, through
Yes.
your worship, We circulated the resolution, you'll recall, at the last meeting on the Children's and Library Hub. The resolution is clear that it was not an in-principle decision subject to the providing how that was going to be funded. The resolution was a resolution to continue with the project and for staff to report back to you, as we have done, as to how that was going to be funded. There was no dependency in the resolution.
That's the question. Was there not a subject to funding if it exceeded the 8.8?
That is true, is that the funding was capped at 8.8, and if the project was to exceed that, we would certainly not be continuing without a further resolution of council.
Kent.
Thank you, Your Worship. I concur completely with Councillor McVicker. I'm not at all comfortable with the process that is taking place here, particularly with reference to the Library Hub. Firstly, the issue that it has been approved. It was approved subject to council staff demonstrating to councillors that it could be achieved within the funding envelope. The demonstration that I saw did not stack up. The demonstration of financial figures that I saw totally admitted the fact that if, for example, Terex did not go ahead, $3 million of capital subsidies also would not come into this council. It did not take into account that if the Performing Arts Centre didn't go ahead, $1.5 million of capital subsidies would not come into this council. So the figures did not stack up. Secondly, the issue of significance. Our council policy states very loudly and very clearly that expenditure in excess of $3 million that is unbudgeted is a significant issue and must therefore, without any excuse, go out to consultation. We have no option under the law and under our own rules but to put that issue before the public and gain their opinion. I therefore cannot support what is being proposed.
Does anyone else wish to speak? Any councillor may have 5 minutes. Councillor Gould.
Thank you, Madam Chair. With recommendation 1 as it states, what I'm not happy about if it goes out to public consultation, it's got proposed rate increases for year 2, 2016-17. What is being proposed around the movements and the rating differentials? I'd rather have the differentials mentioned in that publication with the rate increase applicable for different areas so that the people are aware what their rate increases are for the coming 12 months.
You may wish to clarify that, but I'm very clear that that's what it says in C, and those rating differentials will be taken out to the public as you request. It's a good request, and they will go out as you request.
With the Waikato submission we got last week or the week before, it didn't mention about the rate increase. That's what I'm concerned about.
Well, we will take out, as we say in C, what is being proposed around the movements. You'll see that. That's what will go out in full to the public. Councillor Hunt, you wish to speak?
Thank you. I'm going to speak in support of this. I'm particularly pleased with the process. I think Councillor McVicker said that, used the word Claytons. I think it could be accused of our previous processes. That's exactly how the community felt about them. That they turned up here, they said what they'd said for the last 3 years. It made sometimes very little difference at all. This is an opportunity for every 3 years to have a very, very robust, which is the long-term plan opportunity, discussion about the forward strategic plan for the city, and then in each annual plan, if there's anything that's come out of left field, that's what the $3 million for me unplanned budget is for. Anything that comes completely out of left field, then we would address that in a consultation document as was presented by Waikato. We don't have anything coming out of left field. We know what we're heading towards. We've got a funding envelope with which 85% will fit within. We know there'll be some projects that go ahead and some go over, and there'll be some go ahead and some go under. That's the nature of the business we're in. This change in annual plan was driven by the community all over the country. Every single council had accusations of why are we coming up for annual plan and spending the same amount of time on that as a long-term plan. So that's a good thing. As far as the library refurbishment goes, it's a decision this council made, and we're progressing with it. We've got a funding cap that we have signalled, excuse me, should that go over, then we'll come back and discuss any changes there. So I'm supportive of that. I'm hopeful, and it certainly has been in the past, we've usually seen the engagement documents prior to them going out to the public. And we get to, talk about little tweaks here and there that we think might help in their understanding. And I'm expecting that that's likely the process before that communication goes out, that we will get a bit of a preview and an update. So we're fully informed. And all of the details of the rating differentials, they'll all be in that. This is just a high-level summary for us in order to pass this recommendation. So I'm in support of it. I think it's a very good way forward. It is a change, and it's going to take a little bit of bedding in, and there'll be a few hiccups and a few expectations that aren't met by some people in the community. But this is a really good step forward for all of us, and I'm looking forward to the changes and seeing how people do engage with it as we go forward.
Councillor Srank.
Chair, I agree entirely with what Councillor McVicker has said. And as far as change is concerned, you are always much better to take change in much smaller bites. As far as other councils are concerned, Councillor Hunt, most of them are still going through the process of accepting written submissions and having hearings. They haven't made that gigantic leap. So there are things here that I cannot agree with. I believe the library children's health hub is a significant issue with its $3 million extra having to come from ratepayers. And there are things like the percentage increase for rural residential, which pushes them up to 6 to 8%. To me, that is significant when some other areas, like the business differential, they're practically getting nothing, in some cases a minus. So it is significant, and it is very significant for the people out there, particularly in the Lakes districts. So I cannot agree with this process. I believe it's too much change too quickly, and I believe there are certainly matters of significance that we need to signal from the 10-year plan.
Any further debate? I may leave you till last, Councillor Donaldson, because you were the mover of the motion, so you get the last chance to speak. Councillor Tapsell, did you wish to speak? No. Councillor Maxwell.
Kia ora koutou. No, I'm supportive of the recommendation that's here, and yes, it's a change, but I think we listened to the explanations last week, or the week before, and I was comfortable with the explanations and what was given. As regards the Children's Hub, look, we've made that decision, and I'm comfortable with it, and let's go with it. I think the other things that are happening, the other things that are being said, I think is just plain politics at the moment. Very supportive.
And I will definitely speak in support of the motion. I think we need to remind ourselves as councillors, when we went through the long-term plan process last year, we set out the direction of travel for our council and the major decisions. The major decisions were debated at length, and we actually heard submissions on them. So we don't need to go back. We've received a petition. That petition on the library and children's hub points that were of consideration in the petition have gone to the planners that are working on that project, and I'm very confident about that process going forward. And the issue that Councillor Sarank rose about the differential, they were fully debated last year, fully debated, and which is why we came in with the farming remission that we're carrying over into year 2. So this is carrying on a major change. You're right, Councillor McVicker, about the long-term plan. The days of going out to consult every year on an annual plan are no longer required, unless there is an exception. This is not an exception. The funding is within the long-term plan, and the direction of travel remains in the long-term plan. So I am very comfortable with this, and as I said last week, also we're going out with an engagement process. I do take exception at the comment that you made, Councillor McVicker, that council staff will write the engagement policy. Of course council staff will write it, but it'll come back to us to see what is going out. I've not seen councillors sit and write an engagement policy document before, but we do need to see what is going out to our community and feel comfortable in the ownership of that engagement discussion that's going out. So there is no substantial change. You are right, Councillor Maxwell, that this is another political crack at trying to undermine a resolution of council that has been made. And so I'm very confident about this process that we will vote on today, and I will be voting in support of this. Councillor Donaldson.
Thank you, Your Worship. It's pretty much, I think, been said by yourself and other councillors that I also, having moved this, obviously support. That we have had the debate, we have made the decision on the library and child health hub. The rural differentials, as you pointed out, we did discuss in the long-term plan and consulted on the business differential coming down and the rural residential differential going up towards the mark of 1, a universal 1 differential. And I think we all agree that business cannot come down to a flat 1. But and look, we also discussed pending the outcome of the Local Government Commission sorting out the targeted rate for community boards. So those issues have been discussed and put to bed, and I don't think they're a significant departure from the long-term plan and the funding envelope provided. Councillor Kent raised the issue of Terex and potential loss of subsidies if we don't progress with that. Just yesterday we held a workshop with the Project Steering Committee following Council's approval of the recommended options for the upgrade of the wastewater treatment plant and the discharge options. So there will be a public consultation on that, because that is a significantly greater spend than what's provided for in the long-term plan. So the public consultation process for that project will commence during the month of April, and so we will have full and frank public consultation on that one. So, yep, fully supported, and I'll be voting for the recommendation.
So, Your Worship, those voting for were yourself, Councillor Donaldson, Hunt, Rokawa Tate, Councillor Maxwell and Councillor Tapsell. Those against, Councillor McVicker, Councillor Kent and Councillor Sarank, Councillor Gould.
Motion is carried. I move now to recommendation 2, if we could have that up on the screen, please. The election and communication protocols for elected members. election and communication protocols for elected members, that council adopt the election and communication protocols for elected members. Do I have a mover? Thank you. And a seconder, Councillor McVicker. All those in favour, please say aye. Contrary? Carried. Just let you get that up, Carol. And now a mover and a seconder for the following motion, recommendation 3, alternative to Whakariwariwa land treatment system. Thank you, Councillor Gould, seconded. Councillor Donaldson. Yeah. Does any councillor wish to speak to that motion? Appears not. I'll put them. Yes.
As point 2, disclosure of the financial impact, that will be included to the public's information in the future. Yes.
Councillor Donaldson, you wish to speak?
Yeah, I can confirm that, Your Worship. Raised that very point during the workshop yesterday as we worked through the proposed consultation document. So, yeah, the financial will be part of the consultation.
So all those in favour, please say aye. Contrary? Carried. We move now to a resolution to go into public excluded to consider and adopt the confidential items. Thank you, Councillor Tatzel.
Sorry, I just thought,
Yes.
are we still doing the update from the youth councillor before we go on to the confidential?
Oh, yes, it's usually a stand. Yes, thank you, Councillor Tatzel. Olivia.
So, at the Youth Council at our most recent meeting, we spoke to Vina from the Youth Centre, and we decided on combining an event at the end of the year in November at the Blue Lake. It combines a hip-hop concert, a sort of summer splash type thing, and the Rotaz race. And the Youth Centre wants to be able to provide buses and things for that, so she's going to come back at our next meeting and talk to us again about more options. And we also spoke about the library. We had some people from the library come and speak to us, and we discussed what the youth would want in the new library and the new renovated premises. And we decided that we wanted something more interactive. So we came up with the idea of having a place where you can go and you can record a sort of video, and it's my story. And what you can do is you can have the elderly and the young, and people can come and watch these stories, and they stay there for only a week, and you watch these stories and it connects the different generations. We also decided about having walls where people could draw art to liven the place up, and we decided on doing these things because a discussion that was had was that the city seems to have stayed very much the same over at least my life, and we wanted to start moving towards a change for the future, and we figured starting at the library where lots of people go would be a good way to do it. And that's all that's been happening at the Youth Council.
That's great, Olivia. Thank you for that report. You have a question, Councillor
Madam Chair, thank you, Olivia. Yes, we do want to see our town embrace youth and hear youth voices. I was just wondering, Madam Chair, is the working group that's putting the new library concept together, do we have some young people like Olivia assisting and having some input into the design and the development? Because I think it would be good if that could be made possible. Thank you.
JP, could you answer that, please?
Yes, Your Worship. There's a particular cultural group we're relying on the DHB's connections through to certainly bring the cultural aspects into it. So they have a Te Arawa reference group that's supporting them. But one of the things that we had discussed was that we needed to get more focus groups around younger people, as well as using things like the Friends of the Library to help as we move through the detailed design phase. So not in place at the moment, but certainly planned to be included.
Yes, Councillor Maxwell.
Thank you, Olivia. Have you settled on a date or anything? Did you say November or something?
Yes, we were thinking, the date that's been given is November 26th, but that's subject to clearly the NCEA exams for senior students. So if it's going to turn out that a lot of students can't make it on that particular date, it is a Saturday, but for study purposes, then it'll be changed to later on, like early December.
End of year. Thank you for that. And also I've had a report back last night from Te Mauri Kingi, who's our Tuia rep. It would be great if the Youth Council invited him to come and update you all on his experiences at the first Wānanga. He's come alive and they're planning a lakefront clean-up that they want to work with the whole community on, so it would be great if he came and spoke to you all.
I forgot, but he actually has come and spoken to us, and a few of us have put our names forward to be volunteers and to help out with that clean-up.
That's great. Thank you. Thanks for that report.